Hello, Julian here with a quick replay review. I do these replay reviews to help out people, and specifically this user here, IXLR8, I don't know if there's a long pronunciation of that, posted on the AOE 4 Reddit that he was struggling with English Rush as French player, and he wanted to know what he should do. And generally, a lot of people gave good advice on there, but what I found is that when it comes to a situation like this, a visual is really helpful. So here's my advice on how to handle the situation. So the good news is that it was a very handleable situation. There's a lot of little things we could talk about, but your instincts are correct. The thing you need to do better, that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to visually show you in a second, is about unit creation and follow through. Especially when we think about what your civilization, France, is good at. So you have a good opening build order down. Get the sheep back. Solid scout pattern. I would potentially just go all the way over and get sheep. But at this point you want to be heading back up to check what your opponent's doing. Get the school cavalry down. I like this nice forward position for it. It's all well and good. At this point, you should come back with the sheep. Taking a look at your workers here, they're almost out of sheep. It would have been good to bring your sheep back just to make sure you could keep collecting. But you also have berries here, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, another small thing. I would have put your lumber camp here. The reason being is that's close to your base. So if you do get rushed and you're not ready for it, your TC can defend. You see the outer ring here of your TC? Your TC can defend your wood line early on. And this is a long walk for your villagers who don't have a wheelbarrow yet. Wheelbarrow is the tech that increases the movement of your villagers that is in the mill. So I would have always do your first lumber camp at the closest wood line and then move out as you get better map control and more safety. So you go 7 on wood, 9 on wood, which I suspect is because you want to get up an archery range. With 9 on food, you're probably not going to be able to consistently make knights. So if you're trying to get out more knights, you should probably want more on food. Same with gold. You're going to want to end up at some point with 6 on gold if you want to consistently make knights. Now, the question is, what is your opponent doing? Because it's all well and good what you want to do. You should react to your opponent. So you go and check. You notice that he is off of gold and not on berries. So in your mind, you might be going, okay, where can I even attack if he's on those two things? Well, first of all, your knight needs to be heading up here immediately. Having your knight sit back here, it's not doing anything. The power of the French as a Sith is to be putting your opponent in a sense of danger. Now you want your opponent to be worried about that knight coming out of nowhere, taking out one of their vills. So having your knight sit back here, it's not really doing anything. Your knight should be up here with your scout, and you and the knight should be rotating around the outside of his base. This also leads to a second point, is by now, you should have scouted through his base. What's going to help you the most is scouting his base to know where you can hit. There are going to be villagers somewhere. If they're not on gold and they're not on these berries, that means they're going to be on food and wood near the town center. Let's take a peek. So they're on this wood right here. Your knight can easily run in there and hit them right here on the wood line. And if for some reason they're all on food, well, he can't buy things with just food. He hasn't even aged up yet. So you actually have the perfect time to run in here and hit him with a knight. It looks like he messed up his early macro. He has way too much wood. So he's not even aged up. You had a chance to get in here and hit him with a knight. So I just said a lot. But the point being is, what's going to help you a lot early on is if you really make sure you get your scout around the base and see where are his villagers, what is he doing. So you see the wood line here. When you saw them on this wood line, you should have got that knight up here immediately. And then getting a couple villager kills is going to set your opponent off. You put your villagers back on sheep, which is great. You get another knight out. So this is about the sense, the feeling, right? Your opponent still is not in feudal, so you should be able to get in here and get a couple kills off. So he just hits feudal, so now at this point you know he's going to be starting to make units. So you rotate around, You see he's not on any of these resources. And he already has about 8 longbows out. Here's where the difference starts to happen. You have to think about your resources as potential, like, what is the total resources you have? You're getting a lot of archers out in the field. But all you see here is longbowmen. So in reality, you don't even need archers yet. If you just build knights, your knights will beat these archers. Even if he has a couple spearmen out, if you mass knights, you will beat him. That's why the French player has an advantage in this matchup. Right now, based on your information, you should go, what do I see? I see a lot of archers. Cool. I'm going to just keep massing knights until he starts making spearmen. Then I will start making archers. Because his longbowmen are just going to beat your archers. And at 8 longbowmen sitting near the TC, you probably shouldn't go in yet. I'm going to wait till I get a few more knights. How do you get more knights, though? Well, that's where our macro comes in. That's where our villager separation goes. With 10 on wood, that's way more than you need. For context, if you want to get up production and still make archers, you about need 8 to 9. Having 10 with 1 archery range means that you're going to have more wood than you actually need. But you don't have enough on food to actually produce knights, which are pretty food heavy at 140 food. What would actually be more helpful is having about 14 to 16 on food and keep adding to food. You have enough on gold, but you don't have enough on food. How do you know that? Well, if you're making units, it's a good mental check while you're playing the game to go, what am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to mass up. Oh, well, I don't have enough food. I can't make that mass. You also go to stone. Getting a second TC is great, but are you going to survive? Do you have enough units to defend if you go second TC? My suggestion is always, if you want to go second TC as France, get out 1 knight, harass, and immediately put everything towards getting that TC. 4 on food, 8 to 10 on wood, 8 on stone, until you get that TC, build it, and then go back to producing units and just try to fight it out in feudal. So you go in a little early, and he sees that coming. He gets his pilings down. At this point, you need to get out, especially because with these villagers, he can bow shoot you, and that will do a fair amount of damage in these numbers. This is all about taking a fight. Take a fight, you know you can win. You don't need to fight these archers yet. There's no reason to attack them. It's actually better to go for villagers. Where can you hit villagers? Let's check the map here. He has villagers sitting on the berries right here. He has villagers in the wood line. If you had taken a second and rotated a little bit more, you might have seen that and taken advantage of that. If you rotated under here, you could have grabbed 3 to 4 villagers before his archers could come over and stop you. So what's the thought process? Thought process is, what am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to slow him down, ruin his economy. That's always your goal as France. How do I do that? Rotate around his food resources. Check those resources, hit them with knights, and run away. You're not trying to stick around. So you lose a knight right there. And your other knight is pretty low on health. You don't have the upgrade yet to get that. So now you're already low on mass. Archers versus longbows is not going to be a winning combination. Your goal at this point should go, I need knights ASAP. One thing you do, which is good, is you put down 2 stables. That's going to increase your knight production. But you need to have the units on food to match that, which you don't right now. Instead, 1, you've lost build production. 2, you're still rallying to stone. So one thing that will help you with that is, 1, make sure your TC is on a hotkey that you can press easily. I actually keep mine on, I have these side buttons on my mouse. So I always keep tapping this to rotate back to my TC, and I'm always making sure I have 2 to 3 vills queued. Let's actually check your vill number. You're at 31 vills. He's at 30. So you're actually selling more vills. You should be able to produce more than him. You even got your wheelbarrow, which is great. But you need to be rallying to food. Even if you are going for 2 CC, you actually hit your TC number. You only need 350 stone. At this point, until you're ready to get your TC, either move your units off stone to wood or off stone to food, so you can keep producing knights. In your mind, that you should know, he's coming with a force bigger than mine. I need to respond with the right unit comp. With the amount of archers, you need knights. Good vision, and this vision actually helps. You see 18 archers and a couple men at arms and a few spearmen. Your archer mass isn't ready to go on that. But if you had been building knights from the start, you'd probably be at 10 knights. 10 knights would take out this mass right here. And yes, he might have a few spearmen, but those spearmen aren't going to take out 10 knights. Cool. At this point, you're still not dead. As much as it feels bad, you're not dead. If you had to run these villagers down here, place them right here, and start chopping wood here, you gotta buy yourself some time. Rally all your units next to the TC, and try to get that unit production. Instead, you get desperate, and you throw your knight away. Hey man, we've been there. Once again, not a criticism. But what you've done is that you've thrown away your most vital resource. As France, your knights are your most valuable resource. And all you did was buy yourself 4 seconds. Maintain your massive units until you think you can take the fight. Even when it feels desperate, don't throw your units away. Or put your units in a successful spot. Having your archers right here means you can potentially pick off a few spearmen before they walk in while you're preparing your knight mass. He sets up phalanx, who cares? He can sit there as long as he wants. He's actually legitimately wasting time. This gives you time to try to build a mass. Now let's pause here and think about resources, right? You've gathered 1,000 stone. Imagine if that stone was food and gold instead. You could produce 8 more knights immediately. 8, 5, 13, you're doing work there. If he wants to even sit here with his phalanx, hey, send a knight back to his resources. You know his resources are. You know where his wood is. You know where his food is. Send 1 or 2 knights back here and start taking out vills, and he'll have to start sending units to stop that knight, which buys you some more time. Have patience. Have patience. Give yourself time. What would have been helpful here, you could have dropped a market, sold all of the stone into gold, and then spent that gold into food. That's just, desperation here. Keep building that mass. The best time to raid is when you're losing. One thing you can do is, as I said, send a knight into where you know his food is. Another option is to send 2 knights into the path of the reinforcing units. You want to stop this mass from getting larger. If you had queued knights over here and then here, you could kill every single unit that's coming in. If it's 1 spear, your 2 knights would decimate it. You'd kill it, and then he'd either have to send his units back, giving you space, or he'd have to rally his units here, keeping this mass a manageable size, allowing you to continue building. Don't lose patience. Don't lose patience. At this point is where you lost patience and ran your knights into his phalanx. You didn't need to do that. Did he pressure you? Did he force your hand? No. You ran into him. Ooh, you got the good. But you ran into him. Ask yourself, was there a reason to attack? No. He wasn't pressuring you. You had your food over here. You had even more food over here. You had a boar over here you could still get. Your gold was unpressured. In fact, you could even throw up a wall right here to protect this side. Throw up another wall right here just to protect it, or put up a tower right here. The point I'm trying to make is you actually put yourself in that position to lose there because you were like, oh, there's a lot of units, and you attack. Use your... Now you're going to do your... I think this is a desperation knight throw. And this is something you should have done earlier. But you stop them here. Cool, they're catching things running in. Okay, I see what you're trying to do. But all... Oh, you killed the boar, but you forgot to put a mill. That sucks. Hey, we've been there. I like at this point you're now cutting off his units. But also, he's in a good spot where he can now just start... He started trading. Where he might go castle. But you notice that he's now putting up his own defenses because you started raiding this middle part right here. And there's no more units coming up. He has stopped sending units. all these towers you're putting here, one, you're using stone that could be used on a second TC or on a tower, because or on units if you sold it, because all he's gonna do now is he could just walk around and go somewhere else. A better player than him will go around the other resources and start killing your units back here. So this is kind of a waste of these would be better as units that you can move than towers that are going to stay right here. And then he does that. Now he's in castle, and you gotta go. Okay, so to summarize, what's going to help you in this situation? 1, scouting to see what your opponent is doing. What unit comp are they running? 2, macro your resources in a way that's going to help you produce units to fight. Since you went on stone and then didn't move your villagers, you weren't able to produce enough units to even fight him. If you macro your resources differently, you will be able to get enough units to fight him. Then it's about microing, moving your knights away from the spears, hitting the archers, walking up your archers to shoot his spears. But at some point, if you can mass up enough knights, it doesn't matter how many spearmen he has. You're going to dent him in. 2, before that fight starts, attacking his resources, keeping him off balance. Use your scout to find where is he getting his wood from, where is he getting his food from, and hit him with your knights and run away. Your goal is to get a villager killer 2 and get out, not to do a whole bunch of damage, just enough that he has to keep moving and building units. Lastly, if you find yourself in the situation where you are being pushed at your doorstep, do not attack until you are sure you can win. Unless he's absolutely all-inning your TC with like 4 rams. While you're waiting though, keep building your mass and send out 1 or 2 knights to attack his food to catch his reinforcements to make it a more manageable fight. I hope that helps. If you're interested in doing like a full coaching session, I'd be happy to walk you through, look at your games together, talk you through it, and help you get better. If you have any questions or feedback, let me know.